This time we're going to be taking a look at the Month 3 Resistance is Futile OP prize ship. This one has a couple different names. I'm not sure which one they went by, but it's known as the Trager, as well as the Assimilated vessel 64758. Anyway, we'll get right in and take a look. We have our Cardassian Galor-class dial. Kind of funny, it only has Dominion faction. It's the same exact as the regular Galor-class. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it doesn't have the Borg faction on there. And there's our Galor-class maneuver card. You can see it's exactly the same as our previous Galor classes. Kind of speedy with that 5 forward, lacking the 1 tight turns like the others. Still a nice ship though. And as with the other assimilated vessels, this is where they're going to be a little bit different than the others, because they actually come with 4 different ships, 2 named, 2 generic. First one we have is Assimilated Vessel 64758. It's dual faction Borg and Dominion. 5 attack, 1 evade, 4 hull, 5 shield. Has 1 Borg upgrade, 1 tech upgrade, 2 weapon upgrades, and a crew upgrade for 30 points. You get evasive maneuver, target lock, scan, and regenerate. And the ability is, when defending during the declare target step, you may spend 1 drone token to set one of your defense dice on any side you want. This die cannot be re-rolled during the attack. Nice little ability there. If you have a way to regenerate drone tokens, definitely worth it. Next we have the Assimilated Galor-class generic. Still has the dual faction. You lose 1 shield, and you lose 1 weapon upgrade for 28 points. Next we have the Trager, Dominion faction, 4 attack, 1 agility, 4 hull, 4 shield. You have a tech upgrade, 2 weapon upgrades, and a crew upgrade for 26 points. You have evasive, target lock, and scan. And our special ability is, during the compare results step, you may disable one of your shields to cancel 1 hit or crit result. You cannot deploy this card to the same fleet as the Assimilated Vessel 64758, because they're actually the same ship. But interesting ship nonetheless. Kind of a useful ability. You're basically disabling a shield, which means it comes back at the end of the turn instead of destroying one with a hit or crit. So basically keeps you around with 1 shield almost at all times. Then we have our generic Galor class. You're losing 1 shield on there. You're losing 1 weapon upgrade for 24 points. For captains, we have Gul Macet. Captain skill of 5. 1 elite talent for 3 points. And his ability is, when attacking during the roll attack dice step, you may add +1 attack die to your roll. If you do, place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. Definitely worth it, especially if you're going to be doing a green maneuver the next turn anyway. You're going to get to dump that auxiliary power. Since it happens during the attack, you've already done your action for the turn, so you're not actually losing anything, so that's nice. It boosts up the named versions of the Galor class pretty nice. Next we have a tactical drone. At the start of the game, place 6 drones on the card, so he starts with a captain skill of 6 for 4 points. His ability is, when a friendly ship within range one of your ship is defending, during the roll defense dice step, you may spend 1 drone token to add +1 defense to that ship's roll for that attack. Kind of a useful ability. I think some of the other drones are better, but useful nonetheless. To take this over a generic drone any day. Captain skill of 6 isn't too bad either. So, for our elite talent, we have Truce. This one's actually kind of an interesting one. It's 5 points. When defending during the declare target step, you may discard this card to cancel that attack. The cancelled attack cannot be directed against a different ship. Place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. If you've already attacked during the round, when you use this ability, place a second auxiliary power token by your ship. Costs +5 SP if purchased for a captain with a skill greater than 5. Definitely interesting. Because of the extra points, it's not something you want to use on Decap, but if you're using like Macet, definitely an interesting option. The fact that it takes place again after your action phase, the auxiliary power token isn't that big of a deal because you can just pull a green maneuver the next turn. You've already gotten your action for this turn, so you're not losing anything. Anything that cancels an attack is nice, especially if they're using lots of abilities to do the attack. Everything's still going to be spent on their end, and you're not going to be taking any damage from it. For crew, we have Glyndaro, 3 points. As an action, you can repair 1 damage to your hull or shields. Something the Dominion's been sadly lacking is repairing abilities, so definitely nice. The fact that he's not a disable, he's only an action, makes him extremely useful. I think that most of the Federation ones are an action and a disable, so you end up having to spend a turn to re-enable him. Definitely a nice crewman there. For 3 points, you can't go wrong putting him on anything. For weapon upgrades, we have Magnometric Guided Charge, 5 points. Attack of 3, range 1 to 3, disable this card to perform the attack. You may convert one of your battle stations into a critical. Target ship does not get to roll defense dice against this attack, which is really nice. Can only be purchased for a Borg ship. Kind of a nice one. We've seen this one before on other Borg ships, but definitely has its uses. 3 attack dice is nothing spectacular, but the ability to change a battle station into a crit is nice, and the fact that they don't get to roll defense is what really makes it an interesting weapon. And for our Borg upgrade, we have Neural Link, 3 points. As an action, you can discard this card to target all friendly Borg ships within range 1 to 3. Rearrange your current drone tokens on all of these ships any way that you want. You must have the same total number of drone tokens between ships, and you cannot exceed a captain's starting number of drone tokens on any of the ships. Very nice thing. You got multiple Borg captains that spend drones in various ways, or Borg upgrades that spend them in various ways, and there aren't that many ways to regenerate drones. There are a handful of them out there now, but not enough to put on every ship if you're running a Borg fleet. This is a nice way to basically rearrange tokens for someone who may not be using a lot all at once. It comes into play good with the Borg Tactical Cube 001. If you check out that video, there's some interesting stuff on there that plays very well with this card. So for the rest of the expansion, we've got our 5 shields. We have a disable token, have our critical and auxiliary power, target lock W1 this time, an evasive and scan token, and our 6 Borg drone tokens. We also have the extra base, which I'll get into when I show you the bases. Being an OP prize, there's no mission this time around, so that's why you don't see one here. The ship is the exact same Galor-class model we already have. They just painted on some gray areas to represent the Borg assimilation. I've seen some people do some really crazy mods taking green stuff and other parts from other games and actually gluing them on there to make it look assimilated. I may do that myself, I'm not positive. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff, but love to give it a try. For the base, as with the other assimilated ships, since there's multiple ships here, we also have multiple bases. First one here is the Assimilated Vessel 64758. Has a 180 degree front arc like all the Galor classes. And we have our generic Borg Assimilated Galor class. And we have our base for the Trager and for the generic Galor class. The nice thing about the multiple bases is that you can run the Borg Assimilated Galor and the Trager or the generic Galor at the same time. You can use one of your older models. The Borg Assimilated one has an extra attack on there, which is nice, and has that regen ability, which is nice. So definitely an idea there. You can't run the Trager and the named assimilated ship, however, as it's specifically written on the card for the Trager. They're actually the same ship, so that's the reasoning behind that. Overall, it's a really nice pack. Some stuff in here if you're a Dominion player, lots of cool Cardassian stuff in here. If you're a Borg player, there's some cool Borg stuff in here. Nothing you can't live without, though, for Borg, I think. But the Neural Link's really cool for Borg. Another Captain Skill 6 tactical drone's a good one for Borg. And the named Borg ship is interesting. As for Cardassians, which is what I'm interested in, Truce has lots of uses. It's a really interesting card. Gul Macet's pretty cool. The fact that you can run the Trager and the generic of the Assimilated ship at the same time is really cool. Gives you use to one of your older ships. I know I own 3 other generic Galor classes, so this lets me run one as something slightly better than the normal generic. All in all, it's a good ship. It's another Galor class, probably one of the best that the Dominion has, I think. I play Cardassians almost exclusively. I don't much care for the Jemadar, and the Breen are kind of glass cannons in my opinion. They're fun to have as a support ship, but definitely the workhorse of the Dominion for me is the Cardassians. And can't go wrong with another Galor. Anyway, that's it for this one. I will see you in the next video.